Hello everyone, my name is Ava Duvernay, and today in the studio with me is Christian Epps. I know some of you have probably seen an interview or two of him, but today promises to be more exciting because he's going to give us more interesting things and facts that you don't know about. Now let's meet the man of the hour. Christian, very nice to meet you again.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Okay, Christian, tell us who Christian Epps is that we don't already know.
Who is Christian Epps? I'm a lighting guy. On paper, my thing is lighting for film and television, live events, theater. And then in this context, I also do a lot of work in Africa as well.
Right, because a lot of time when people see or hear about you, they talk about movies and producing. So can you explain why that is? Why people get that notion that you're into movies and making and all of that?
Yeah, so I work as a gaffer in the film business,
Okay.
based mostly in Los Angeles. But for the last 12 years, I've been working on the continent, primarily Nigeria.
Okay.
And I have started producing the technical part of some of this. So whether it's a film or a TV show, I help gather the resources for different staffing in the technical departments, helping to gather the right artistic team, helping scout locations, and helping to choose appropriate budgets, schedules, things like that as well.
Wow, multitasker. You have how many jobs?
I'm part Nigerian, so I haven't finished counting yet.
All right, cool. Now let's talk about you growing up. What was that like for you?
Interesting. I grew up, I'm from Philadelphia, but I grew up in the Caribbean, in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands.
Okay.
And then Atlanta, D.C., at Howard University for college. Went to New York for NYU for graduate school in theater lighting design. And then I started doing film and TV when I realized that theater wasn't going to pay for my life as quickly as I needed it. It's always about the money,
right?
Yes.
Well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually was in a rehearsal, took my $50 to the phone company to ask them, here, hold this, please don't cut off my phone. Okay. And that was the day I realized I had to start doing film and television because it paid more than the theater.
Okay.
And I had to actually run from rehearsal to the phone company and run back. There wasn't enough time to walk, and I couldn't afford a taxi because I only had that $50 there.
To pay.
So it really was by force, but what it did for me was the film and TV thing opened up a much bigger world in terms of the influence on other people.
Right.
Theater is one of the best creative places to start and still plays a major part in my visual work, you know. But film and television is a bigger game in terms of the mechanics and ultimately the audience it'll reach and the dollars involved. So it does play a different role in expanding my career as well. Okay,
now let's talk about you growing up as a child with your parents and your family. Can you tell us, you have siblings and how was that for you?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
I'm not the baby, I'm the youngest of 3.
You're not the baby. Can you explain that?
It just sounds better this way.
Oh, you are the baby of the house.
I'm the baby of the house.
Okay, right.
So my sister, Jeffrey, who now works with me actually, consulting on the training and development work that I've started on. My brother Carlton is in Philadelphia, where we're all from. And so, yeah, there's 3 of us growing up in St. Thomas.
Right.
One of the interesting parts about St. Thomas, though, when I got to Nigeria many, many years later, I realized, culturally, they're completely connected. Because of the slave trade, the Caribbean is mostly African culture. Yeah? And so when I got here, I was like, I recognize this food. This looks like the same plate of peas and rice and greens and fish and that I grew up eating.
Good.
The music is the same. I was in Enugu. It was a funeral. One day, some people were dancing down the street playing music. I was like, that is exactly the music we used to dance to in Carnival when I was little. Yeah, so actually when I got here and found it, found myself amenable to it and enjoyed it and could relate to it,
right.
A lot of people in the States can't because it's so very different in many ways.
Yeah.
But I was already, halfway home or something like that.
Okay, of all the things that you could have done with your life and with yourself, why this field?
I have no idea why, but I'll say this. My mother was very visual, very creative. She always took us out to see shows. Her design skills at home were exceptional. Her sort of renovation work on a small scale was phenomenal. She would take that chair and turn it, and 10 years later, you'd be like, that is fantastic. Where'd you get it? So the visual and the cultural sort of outings that she would take us on played a part in getting into the theater in high school.
Right.
I got in that just because you could literally get out of class early.
And the girls?
There
was a girl you liked, right?
Very interesting.
Well.
So, in the theater,
right.
In that high school that I went to in 11th grade in Atlanta, Northside School of the Arts, I didn't know they had an arts program. That wasn't why I was there. It was in our neighborhood. But the guy sitting next to me said, if you get in performing arts, you get out of class early. So I said, 11th grade, you get out of class, sign me up.
Okay.
So I got on the crew. I don't sing, act, dance. I don't play any instruments.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So then when I went to college, I tried for a semester to be a little more responsible by going into communications.
Okay.
But after that first semester, I realized I don't know anybody in this department, but I know everybody in the theater department, and I'm over there working on shows. So let me go back to what I know and what I want to do.
Okay, so clearly this is a passion for you. But when did you decide that this is what I want to do for money and this is what I want to do with it for the rest of my life?
That's second semester, in between first, second semester of freshman year. When I decided to stop doing this other thing, that wasn't so far off, but it wasn't really what I was into.
Yeah.
In the communications program. So when I decided then, that was literally when I decided, I guess this is it. and we'll figure out the rest later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about projects you've done so far. Shall we? Let's go. Now you tell us projects you've done.
Things that might be of interest to people generally.
Right.
Well, on the basic level, I've toured with dance companies for years, halfway around the country and halfway around the world a little bit.
Right.
I was doing theater around New York and all that, but then when I got into film, I spent about 10 years with Spike Lee doing, I want to say everything he did from maybe 89 to late 90s. By late 90s, I was doing smaller bits. I had moved on to Atlanta.
You were acting as well as being...
No, lighting, all lighting.
All lighting, okay.
Only lighting. So I spent about 10 years with him. He is literally a representative of what I think that many people in the film industry need, which is someone to look out for you and give you an opportunity.
Yeah.
And he did that for me, among many others. And so all praises to him for the thousands of people that he has influenced, for sure.
Okay.
So I did that. During those years, I also was in the music video scene in New York. The Hype Williams, sort of the glossy, shiny, puffy, Biggie, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Queen Latifah. Name a bunch of. We used to literally just ride around. R. Kelly. We just used to ride around the radio and say, "I did that. Oh, we did it from that one. Oh, we worked on that one. Oh, Boys to Men. Oh, yeah, who is that? This, TLC's first music video. I mean, there was a ton of stuff for years.
Right.
And that was good because it played on my theatrical sort of fun look and my camera experience.
And now, talking about you touring and all the big names you worked with in the industry, can you tell us what the challenges were? Because clearly you woke up in different cities at different times, so what were the challenges you had to deal with?
The challenges. One is, well, for me, I was always, for some reason, under the impression that my opinion mattered. So, now that's good and bad.
Okay.
It's good, but also at work, realizing there's a hierarchy, and sometimes you're hired to do this job, not for your opinion. So that was a process for me, and it's especially important. The higher up you go in any industry, the more the politics of what you say and when you speak up, or when you don't speak up, or when is your place, becomes important. So like now, I'm working on a project right now. There was an email about hiring a production assistant.
Okay.
And I advised the person who received the email, what they're really looking for is someone who will be able to handle themselves around A-list international talent. So even though they're a PA,
Yeah.
they have to be cool with walking up to,
And not
you know,
fan out and mess up the job.
and not tell their friends,
Right.
"Oh, I can get you in."
I can get you in. You know.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Keep it professional.
Yeah,
Keep it
yeah,
moving.
yeah. So
Right.
at any age, that's important. Understanding budgets. One point, I ordered a paper cutter to cut some little colored gels for the lights. My first film on Mo Better Blues with Spike.
Okay.
And I needed a paper cutter, and they put a union driver and a van and somebody to go shopping, and they came back with this commercial and huge expensive thing, and they used all these people who cost a lot of money to go, and I realized, oh, well, if I say something, the other person is generally inclined to listen up to a point. So I need to make sure that I've done my part to do my homework,
Right.
so that when I speak, whether it's a big thing or a small thing, that it is of value and that I've thought about, I've researched, not to just talk randomly. Because for better or worse, other people respond, hopefully good, you know. But I didn't realize up until that moment that, oh, there's a lot of money being moved around here.
Right.
And you are a part of it, for better or worse, and you can be a good part of it if you prepare yourself and do your part.
Okay, good. Now tell us, what are your hobbies apart from, because you work and work
Yes.
some more. So apart from travel, I think one of your
Yes.
hobbies is travel, or
Yes.
else you'll be frustrated in the line
Correct.
of, yeah. So tell
I'm
us
interested in
what
any
other
place new travel-wise.
things. Okay.
Oh, and warm.
And
I'm
warm?
not too excited about the cold weather places.
Okay.
But hobby-wise, cooking is my favorite thing. Most days of the week, if I'm not at work, I'm at home cooking. Sometimes I'm just cooking randomly with no need for dinner. Just
No
cooking.
need for
No,
dinner,
for
just cooking.
Just
and
cook
then you
and
put
put
it
it
in the
away.
fridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
So
cooking is one. I don't play any instruments, although I do sing very loudly and very wrongly.
because I was going to ask if you were such a good singer. No, just a bathroom singer.
I'm not just the bathroom. You wish it was just the bathroom.
I don't wish it was just
Not you personally, but you know.
I know.
No, I'll sing
Yeah.
whenever. I've lost the shame.
Ah,
You know?
good. That's a
Yes.
good one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have become a news junkie because I'm learning more and more how that really politics is about dividing up the money. And it really does govern many, many parts of society. So I've become a news junkie lately.
Okay.
Hobbies otherwise. I am collecting silver.
I see
Jewelry?
you wear a lot of jewelry. I
do.
going to go
I do,
there. Yes. So when did you start? You've always done this?
Well, my hair is gray. I have lots of gray hair. You can't tell right now.
I can tell. Okay.
I do. I have lots. It's at home in the trash can. But it is mine.
Okay.
So yeah, when my hair started turning gray, I started switching to silver, and I find that it's more creative. And you get more individual artists in silver. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
What else? I very much
Do you dance? Can you dance to save your life?
actively dance a lot.
Okay.
Also, I don't have much shame about that either.
That means you're not such a good dancer?
In some ways, I'm a great dancer. If you like
nice.
fun for the sake of fun, I'm great.
What does that mean?
If you have expectations of what a dance should be, I'm not your guy.
He doesn't know how to dance, people. Let's talk about Selma. Tell us what Selma is and how you're involved.
In the movie. So, Selma is a movie director, Ava Duvernay, who's become quite a name in the U.S., and produced by Oprah Winfrey and Brad Pitt's production company.
Okay.
Paramount Film. It was 2015 it came out. I was the gaffer on the film. The DP is Bradford Young, who's been a phenomenal talent in that industry. So on the movie, I'm the gaffer, so I'm in charge of the lighting, right? I'm in charge of the crew, I'm in charge of the equipment budget, I'm in charge of, trying to get the creative in line with the director's vision and the DP's vision and contributing my own along the way. So that movie was definitely a highlight in my career. One of the reasons is that it was a phenomenal combination of art and the scale of it. It's a Hollywood movie, a fairly good budget for it. and it was creatively really about something significant. So it was a great project to work on in that regard.
Okay. So now, what challenges did you encounter working on such a huge project? Yeah.
Challenges.
Yeah.
Well, every project we do, there's never enough money. There's never enough time and planning. So, you know, when somebody says, oh, the budget's $100 million,
It's never enough.
it's not enough.
Really?
No, because it's a human nature thing. Us, the humans, our vision is capable of so much that no matter where you go, you want to go further.
True.
So that's what happens with that. I do think that the project is somewhat unique in that it was created, I don't know if created is the right term, it was steered by Ava and a
Ava
creative
who?
team, Ava Duvernay,
Okay.
the director on the project.
Okay.
It was steered by Ava and the creative team in a way that is fairly unique in the amount of love and concern for the subject and the people in the subject.
Right.
And the original sort of, the original content that the creative team is very close to and the producing team is very close to. So it was very, very authentic in terms of concern and regard and effort. So that was good. Also, her family is from that area in Alabama, and she's spent time there, of course, and can very much personally relate to the region as well, as a lot of us can.
Okay.
You know, so there's a lot of different overlaps there.
Christian, you're clearly more into work abroad than you are here. So tell us clearly, because you schooled abroad.
That. Oh yes, okay,
like,
fine. Okay.
Yeah. So
yes.
Tell us, how are you bringing your creativity and your years of experience to Nigeria, and how do you think you fit, or you can find your place in the Nigerian market?
Yes. So I started coming in 2006 with This Day Festival. We did that for like 3 years. I've done stuff with Nigerian breweries and StarQuest, Maltina Dance Hall. I did the Hetty Awards over time.
Right.
House in the Rock Church, Day Sergeant. A lot of different stuff over the years. But what I found from 2006 to 2012 is that, I know a lot of people in Nigeria now. And my background in the States, I know a lot of people there. And that they have an interest in each other. Some are actually looking to connect, and some just think it would be a good idea if there was a better way for them to connect. Okay. So I thought, I know people on both sides. I can be one of those bridges. So I started this organization called Lights, Camera, Diaspora. It was a California-based nonprofit.
Okay.
And the goal is, the purpose is, to connect the production worlds between the continent and the U.S.
Okay.
So what I do primarily is look for institutional support for that, so that it's not what it used to be, which is just one guy getting on a plane and working beside and training and sharing and whatever, right? I'm organizing it to be numerous people. I've got a long list of people in the States who are interested, and a long list of people on this side who are interested. Okay. Some individuals, some networks, some distribution companies, producers, variety of people on both sides who can see business opportunity, who can also see a sort of cultural contribution that goes in both directions, and who can also see a sort of general community service work as well in terms of sharing skill sets to help develop different markets. So that's what I've spent much of the last 4 or 5 years since then doing. Okay. Looking for institutional support, governments, corporate, educational systems, individuals who have either energy to put towards it or influence or both.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Nollywood scene right now, because I've actually interviewed you on the red carpet of movie premieres as well. Yes. So what would you say, how would you rate Nigerian Nollywood right now?
It's very exciting right now. There's a number of filmmakers here that are doing international quality work. The market is in a development phase, of course, but what's happening now is that you may not see the entire production being of the highest quality, but you will see an individual's work, whether it's the writer, the DP, the particular actors we know, but the individual slots. And if we could take the entire community and select, it's easy to come up with international quality films.
Yeah.
But it's a mixed bag of skill sets, and everybody is working to advance different areas.
Okay.
So what's exciting right now is that it's happening at a rapid pace. The U.S. took, give or take, 100 years to get here, right? Bollywood's been at it for many years. The Nollywood crowd is moving at a pace much faster. The growth is phenomenal. I see the difference from 4 years ago.
Yes, I see what you mean.
Right.
Yes.
So in 10 years, I think the world is going to look up and be like, where did they come from? How did that happen? Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Okay, and some of the movies you've seen, you've liked as well?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I just saw Excess Baggage.
Yeah.
The husband and wife, the village husband and wife. I don't know the character. I don't know all the names, but
Ike Ogbuna.
Ogbuna.
Yeah, Ike Ogbuna.
A phenomenal couple. It was fantastic.
Right.
That was great. That was great.
Okay.
I've worked on 2 with MME Song. Ayama, which
we met at.
Red
Yeah.
Carpet.
Yeah.
And then another one she did called Spotlight.
Okay.
I'm working on another one coming up. Akin Omotoso is the one who's directing this next one.
Okay.
Ego Boya is producing it.
Okay.
Who I
It's been a
just
while
met.
since she's been in the movie industry.
She's producing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't have a real history, that some of the people do, here. But every time I mention her name, people are like, she's wonderful.
Been there forever.
She's
I know.
They love her.
Right.
I'm excited about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what projections do you see for Nigerian movie industry? Because, like you said, there's a rapid growth, but clearly there's still room for improvement.
Yeah.
What trainings are required, or and apart from the trainings, where do you see us going, especially when it comes to internationally?
Yeah. So, internationally, the training element is necessary.
Okay.
The challenge that I see so far is that the financial investment has to happen in order for it to take root quickly, so we don't just stumble along for several years and grow at a slow rate. Right? But for that to happen quickly, and I think it has to happen quickly because everybody here, around the continent, abroad, everywhere, is watching the best work around the world on their phones, on their iPads, on their satellite TVs.
And they're comparing
and of course,
all the time.
We all are, right?
Yes.
We all are. So the expectation is very high. When you take a young person and you hand them a remote, they go click, 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 and they decide just that quick whether or not they're going to stop and watch your show.
Or not.
Or not, right? So from a corporate sort of point of view, their expectations are high. From an audience point of view, the expectation is high. Technology has allowed the learning to increase in speed, so that's good.
Okay.
But it is a practicing sort of skill set, what we do. I'm not an economist, so please forgive me if this is wrong. You can learn many things like being an economist in a school environment, in a classroom environment. You can't learn filmmaking only in a school environment.
You have to take them to the training field
you
and
have
listen.
to be on set with equipment, with other people, with real schedules, with real locations. So that sort of investment is where I'm headed in terms of Lights, Camera, Diaspora.
So can you please tell us what your future plans are? And are you staying in Nigeria? Are you going to be here for a really long time? We would like to know that too.
So the movie I'm working on currently, the only movie I'm working on, is the one by Akin Omotoso.
Okay.
It's called Ghost. Okay. And we shoot in January. I don't know when it comes out. The post-process and all of that, it's its own beast. Akin is a Nigerian by birth, and it's been raised in South Africa for several years, but has been working back in this market for many years as well. Okay. And so the creative in that movie is very high already. And so I'm really excited about that. It's a visual challenge that I'm super jazzed about.
Okay.
And then in terms of here, so I have been working here now 12 years, and the majority of my effort on the continent is based here. I'm a firm believer that, there are more structured environments to produce film, sure, but there's no place else with the same fire And it shows up in the work.
Are you talking about Nigeria or Lagos?
Nigeria.
Okay.
Well, Lagos.
Have you gone out of Lagos to work?
I have. I've done, but not in the film. Well, so yes, in the film business. Yes,
Right.
We shot in Uyo for several weeks in the bush in Uyo.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
She said that during the premiere as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've worked not on film, but I've worked on TV projects and concerts in Abuja as well.
Okay, so the movie with Akin Omotosho for January, it starts shooting next year.
Shoots in January.
January, okay, and then we expect to see it before the end of the year, clearly.
I would assume.
A lot of people are watching and thinking, okay, it's just work. You need to get a life, and I need you to like tell them it's okay, and then you tell them this is how I, get my life aside from work. So I need them to know that as well.
No. I mean, I when I come here, my work is always personally enjoying, but when I come here for a project, I often come here partly under my own steam, where the project right now may not make the most sense economically. There's a vast gap economically between what it costs to exist in the States and what it costs here, for the same job and the same time and effort. So a lot of times what I'll end up doing is I will make that particular project work economically, especially if it's a training educational thing as opposed to a for-profit show or film.
Right.
Then I'll make that work because most of my focus is on making this effort in Nigeria, in Lagos in particular, the majority of my future. Not my only future, but the majority of my future. So I've been coming early and staying late, compared to that job for many years now. And, I spend time in the East during the holidays with my adopted family. Here I stay at my uncle and aunt's house here in Bagada. I'm always around here.
Okay, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we wish you more success with Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And have a great day.